Hey guys, and welcome to Daily Driven. I just bought this car for $300.
I'm like, hey, what's up, hello? Since your pretty ass on me, she came in the door. I just wanna chill, got a sack for us to roll. Married to the money, introduced her to my stove. Showed her how to whip and now she remix it for low. She my track queen, let her hit the bando. We be counting up, watch how far them bands go. We just set it go, talking about your Lambos. 50, 60 grand, mama. Man, I swear I love her, how she with the Lambo. Hit the strip club, we be letting the bands go. Everybody hate on me, just call the fans though. And love with the money, I ain't never let go. And I get high with my baby. I just love the mall, I'm getting fly with my baby. Yeah.
Alright guys, so like I said, I bought this car for $300. Surprisingly, it does still run and drive. It's got the notorious 2.5 liter V6 engine, made it to the atrocious 4-speed slush box that they call an automatic. It is front wheel drive. This is the first ever generation of the Cougar that was front wheel drive, along with the first ever generation of the Cougar that was offered with a hatchback. So why for all these changes? Well, they were trying to give new life to the Cougar, so to speak. This was marketed toward the younger generation as opposed to the older gens that were, marketed to old folks and stuff like that. This was supposed to be a young, hip, new, sporty car. Now, did it work? Not really. They canceled it after, 3 or 4 years of production. It ran from around 98 to 2002. That was its production run. And yeah, it was just overall not that great a car. Most of the interior bits are plastic. The engine choices were not great. You either had the choices of a reliable but slow 4-cylinder Z-Tech motor, or the not so much fast 2.5 liter V6 that likes to kill itself. So the styling of this car, if it wasn't faded, might be a little bit better, but they used weird bug-eye headlights that don't look all that great. Like I said, it is a hatchback, and they elongated the front to accommodate the front-wheel drive system, which doesn't really scream Cougar in my eyes. This doesn't even look like a Mercury. All right, guys, so let's move on to under the hood. All right, guys, so this is the Cougar's kind of semi-beating heart. It is a 2.5 liter Duratec V6, makes 170 horsepower and 165 pound-feet of torque. It'll rev to pretty high for a V6 at the time, 6,750 RPMs. Overall, these are not known to be super reliable engines. They do have various issues. They usually don't last all that long. More problematic though is the 4-speed automatic transmission that it's bolted to. These transmissions really weren't designed for this kind of power and torque. They weren't really all that great, and they just led to a lot of failures. So I'd say this car with a V6 and a manual transmission, a manual 5-speed, would probably be pretty good. But this one, like I said, is not. It's the 4-speed automatic, and it is atrocious. I'll show you more when we start driving it, but no, it's not good. So moving on from that, maintenance up here is not great. As you can see, the intake manifold on this V6 is just massive. It takes up all the area that you could work with. Changing spark plugs will be atrocious. You can get to the air filter and the battery just fine, but anything maintenance, like your starters or really anything belt driven is just going to be a hassle. It's not great. But yeah, so overall, kind of sporty, kind of fun to drive. Not really with that automatic. Or contrary to this battery, rather, the engine does not die hard. All right, guys, that's about it for up front here. There's not too much more interesting things other than I completely neglected to mention this. This is a 1999. The fuses are not labeled. There is 13, 14, D1, R6, 9, 10, R4, R2. That doesn't help me. It doesn't say AC condenser, it says R2. Okay guys, let's move on to the inside. You are now joining me from voiceover form to tell you about the interior. So, a couple things I do like about it is I love the frameless doors. I like that there are little Cougar emblems in the handles for the doors. That is neat. I like the trip computer that is inside the dash. up there in the little screen area. It's small, but it gives a lot of information. It can tell you miles per gallon, distance to empty, ambient temperature. It also has a clock function. Overall, very helpful. Some things I do not like. I don't like how the whole dash is made out of plastic. Everything feels very flimsy and cheap. The cruise control has ceased to exist, basically. It just is unresponsive. However, the accelerate button still works. Riddle me that. Like I said, this car does have the automatic transmission. No, the AC does not work. The previous owner elected to upgrade the factory stereo system to a Pioneer unit with Bluetooth, and I am very thankful for that. Additionally, the seats are there. They are not buckety, and they're not comfy, so they're kind of just cheap. They feel a lot like something you would find in a Focus. Alright guys, let's go ahead and move on to the back. Alright guys, so not much notable back here other than the key fob. The only real cool thing about this hatchback is that, one, it kind of looks like a trunk, even though it's not. It looks like it could open right here, you know, but it is actually a full hatchback, and you can open it with the key, and it works approximately 20% of the time. So, like I said, it is power locked. It comes with this privacy cover. It's a pretty nice trunk in here. It's not too bad. You can get a whole lot of stuff in it. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get it out on the road and see how it drives. All right, guys, so here we are driving the Cougar. It rides a lot like you wouldn't expect, honestly. It's very bumpy and jarring. It's shaky, rattly. It's not fast. It feels like it should be fast, but it's really not. So we're going to turn the traction control off and see how she fares at a 0 to 60. Here we go. $40, 50, 60. So not super fast for, I mean, being a V6. It's definitely one of the slower V6s I've driven. But I mean, as a starter car, it might be okay if you could find one with working AC, and preferably a manual or the 4-cylinder. Either one of those would be a better option in my opinion. But yeah, guys, so it does run and drive, and it was $300. Would I do it again? Yeah, probably. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this car. If you guys have any suggestions on what we should do with it, you know, feel free to leave them below. Yeah, I'm just, you know, kind of bought it for a fun little project, toy. And yeah, if you guys have anything we should do with it, you know, feel free to throw it at me. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And be sure to stay tuned for the next one.